Perfect. Hey, everyone. I'm Neil Grimmer. I'm the brand president of Source Global PBC. As Stuart mentioned, I've had, a long background with Stuart and many others probably on this call in the well, really transforming the natural organic industry. And there's so many parallels as what's happening in that industry with what's happening today in the world of water. So it's really an honor and a privilege to be here with you all today. So I'll start by saying back in 2014, our founder and CEO, Cody Friesen, was trying to figure out how to solve the water problem that we all look at today and are all equally trying to figure out our role in solving the water problem for people all around the world. And he did something different, which instead of looking to the ground, he looked to the sky. And one of the fundamental principles of Source is that where there's water, there's life. Now, in the prayer and what we all believe is that water defines every aspect of our humanity. It's where we settle, from the smallest villages to the biggest megacities. It's how and where, in many ways, the nature of how we grow ourselves, grow the world around us. And even it defines where we explore. We go to the outer reaches of the universe to find signs of water, because when there's signs of water, there's signs of life. And much like many life-changing industries, you look at what's happened in food and sustainability and agriculture and the movement of natural and organic now to regenerative principles and practices. You look at, what's happened in energy, from fossil fuels to now regenerative, renewable energy. And the question is, what's the future of water and how does water play that role? And we all know the dynamics of those prior industries. It was ingenuity, innovation, brute force that was trying to keep pace with the growth of humanity that led us to big ag, to fossil fuels, energies, and to really, in many ways, water infrastructure that hasn't transformed since the Roman era technology of, aqueducts. And so, the question became, and for many of the natural organic pioneers that are on this call, was what does that look like for ag? What does it look like ultimately for energy? And now the question for all of us is, what does it look like for water? So we've gone from food to sustainable food, from energy to renewable energy. And what we're really focused on is answering this question of what this fundamentally means for us with water. Just a baseline, and many of you know these stats, but it's just a grounding element for all of us. 2.1 billion people are without safe water access worldwide. It's staggering when you think about it. We have the honor and privilege of raising a glass today. Many people don't have that ability. One of the biggest solutions to the water crisis is bottled water. 50 billion bottles of water, liters of bottled water are consumed every year. And if you think about the format being a half a liter, you're talking about close to 1 trillion bottles of plastic bottles that are in circulation, which is creating a chokehold on our planet. And by 2030, the world will only have 60% of the fresh water it needs. So this isn't a long-term, issue where we have time to solve it. It is a here and now issue that needs to be solved immediately. And, when you think about it, you can kind of really think about the water crisis across these 4 areas where access, a lot of people just fundamentally don't have access to water now. Those that do struggle with contamination through microplastics, PFAS, lead, arsenic, naturally occurring or man-made. Reliability with climate change, the sources of water that people all around the world relied on are hard to rely on those, which means that they're looking for alternate solutions. And those alternate solutions are highly costly and very wasteful, because it's the plastic bottle that is ultimately stepping in to fill that role. So we believe the next chapter in water is going to be renewable water. And this is where we've spent the majority of our time and energy looking at how we take what happened to energy from moving from fossil fuels to renewable, powered by the sun, to doing the same with water. So at Source, our vision is to perfect water for every person, every place. If you look at the right-hand side of the screen, this is a sample set of our customer base. This has everything from, beautiful indigenous communities in Colombia, to Syrian refugees, to billionaires in Silicon Valley, and they're all drinking the same super high quality water that is produced in renewable and sustainable ways. And what we fundamentally do is tap into the water that's all around us, literally all around each and every one of us today, a fully renewable resource, and transform it into clean, safe, healthy drinking water. So I want to introduce you to the hydro panel. This is the technology that enables us to bring water to communities all around the world. This panel looks like, in many ways, like a solar panel. It's 4 feet by 8 feet in diameter. Each panel produces between 3 and 6 liters of purified drinking water every day. And it uses the power of the sun to create a heat differential and uses passive condensation to tap into the water that's just abundantly in the air. And then we have material science and technology that absorbs that water, releases it into a reservoir where we mineralize that water for taste and human health. All of the electronics are all powered by photovoltaics. And so each panel takes about 15 minutes to set up, and within hours, it's producing clean, safe drinking water, completely off the grid, fully renewable system. So just to give you a sense for the technology, the hydro panel, one hydro panel, over a 10-year lifespan produces 18,000 liters of water, can impact between 2 and 4 people's lives, and take close to a little over 36,000 plastic bottles out of circulation. Now that's the impact of one hydro panel. And when you scale that, as we do, much like solar, where you have one solar panel, you can produce electricity, you get solar arrays where you can start powering cities. The same is true of a hydro panel. We put these into what we call source fields or water farms, and those gang together and produce water for everything from a fairly large sized village to down to a residential home and everything in between. Today we're in over 45 countries, and we have a pretty broad range of applications of our technology, everything from, as I mentioned, residential to communities that are either remote or impoverished, all the way through to commercial applications in agriculture, growing, and things of that nature. Basically, anywhere where there's water scarcity and there is no, what I call Roman era infrastructure for water, we deploy and we provide a water solution. So I want to just share a quick video which kind of summarizes the Source brand and our ethos, and then I want to share some stories about the customers that we serve.
Humans and water. We go way back. Way, way back. Water's the reason we live here, build here, gather here. Where we find a supply of water, we grow. From sand to silicon, from sea to space. Humans and water go way back because humans need water to go forward. And a supply of clean drinking water is a source of opportunity. That's why we do what we do, making water from sunlight and air, in arid deserts and inner cities, at mines and schools and everywhere in between. Perfect drinking water for every person, every place. Places that it can't be found, places it ought to be, places it's never been before. We don't believe opportunities should be miles away, or less common than Wi-Fi, or trapped in a plastic bottle, or live in a rusty pipe. We believe it should be accessible, renewable, and digital, a source of growth, of hope, health, empowerment, a source for every person, for every place.
So good, we'll play it again. Hang on a second, guys. There we go. Sorry about that. So when I first joined the company about 9 months ago, I heard this story, and it broke my heart. As a father of two daughters, this was one of the first images that I saw when came in the company, and this is the hand of a little girl that was reaching for some water. And as I got the story more explained in full detail, this little girl is a Syrian refugee. She lost her parents in the war, and she's now in Jordan. And when I looked at not only her nails, my little daughter's and her nails looking exactly the same after, a rough day of playing out in the playground, and I saw the look of hope in this little girl's eyes, I realized that this company and each and every one of us who are focused on solving the water problem are doing yeoman's work. This is the work we all need to be doing, because each and every drop of that water transforms people's lives. This is an installation in an orphanage we have installations in Jordan and Lebanon, but in Lebanon, where we're providing clean, safe drinking water to children that are lost their families in the war. And each one of these panels just gets put up on top of the orphanage, and then water gets plumbed right into the building where they can have access to that clean, safe water. Another example of an installation we've done, and I had an opportunity to go out to this installation. This is in Bahia, in one of the northernmost tip of Colombia, for the Wayu tribe. And this community, absolutely beautiful community, it is basically a round trip of about 6 hours to get brackish water from a borehole to be able to provide water to their families every day. We came in and put 150 hydro panels into this community to serve about roughly 400 people. And in doing so, that 6-hour trip for mostly the girls and the women in the village turned into a 6-minute round trip, which not only provided clean, safe drinking water for their families, but actually unlocked the remainder of that time for them to step into, to educate themselves, to be able to step into a more full life that has been taken away by having to go fetch water. So incredibly powerful story. We did this in partnership with Conservation International. So I want to share a quick video with you about the project. This is the Wayu tribe.
Normalmente nosotros conseguimos agua en el pozo.
Y siempre mi trabajo es mantener en el pozo buscando el agua. Empiezo como a las 8 de la mañana hasta las 2 de la tarde termino carreteando el agua.
Y así es que tenemos el agua para vivir.
Tuare oya ro chikate kwayone koya wonai y asaje ni wa win no lo chikara po atse ko akalo en se wa pro ahen tu asu.
So one of the most recent installations that we've done is working in partnership with the Navajo Nation. This is an example of one of the homesteads in the nation. If you've ever driven through Navajo Nation, you can see there's very little infrastructure, and homes are spread out very far apart from one another, which makes it very, very difficult to have any kind of infrastructure put into the nation itself. The current water solutions are large plastic containers that drive hours to go fill up and then bring back and use that as the primary source of water. So we worked in partnership, as I said, with the Navajo Nation and some private funders to be able to put roughly 30 hydro panels across 15 homes, 2 panels each. And for the first time, people in this community had running water in their homes. I want to share a really quick video telling that story.
The Navajo word for water is toh. Water is life. And that's true for the Navajo people. You never argue about water. You don't claim it. When I say toh, you know, that's something that's a necessity. And that's what water means to us, is it's life.
At Source, our vision is to perfect water for every person, every place. So Source is already installed in 45 countries and across indigenous populations around the world. There are 12,500 homes on the Navajo Nation that have no water. When we see people that are historically underserved, historically disenfranchised, that is our philosophical focus. How do we deliver to those people first, lift them up the most? That's what Source Hydro Panels are all about.
I'm 74 years old, and my name is Abby Rosenez. I've been living here for almost 48 years. I'm just here all by myself. It's kind of hard for me because I don't have no electricity, I don't have no running water.
It's a struggle to get fresh drinking water. This is what we went through all our lives growing up here. We try our best to be here for my mom, but with this, for my mom to have fresh drinking water, this is an enormous blessing.
We have about 230,000 people on Navajo now on the reservation. There's a lot of land here on Navajo and a lot of places that can benefit from something like this. As a community, and I think as a nation, we have to embrace technology. This is something that they probably in their minds, they would never see in a lifetime. I'm grateful for this product here. These folks, you know, they have water. It's needed all over the reservation to have drinking water every day.
So one of the things that struck me so much when I came into the company is that in many ways, while we're in the water business, this is really technology for social equity. When we can provide water, whether it's the Navajo Nation or a high-end residential home, that is a normalizing function where everyone has a fundamental human right to have access to the very best drinking water in the world. And we think about that technology and the deployment of our technology in that way. So one last quick initiative I want to share with you guys, and then we'll turn it back over to Stuart and open up any questions you have, is that, from my background and experience of growing one of the leading organic baby food brands in the country, that each unit we sold was a powerful force for change, to be a funding mechanism, to be able to provide more access to healthy food for communities in need. And we're doing the same thing here with Source. In 4 weeks, we're launching Source Queensland in Australia, which is going to be taking that same water that's produced from hydro panels, putting it into bottles in a circular format, and having a buy-give component to every bottle. So every liter sold, a liter is donated to do more of the community impact work that we just shared with you over the last couple of minutes here. And we're expanding this across the globe through highly local, hyper-local partnerships. We're going to be launching in Saudi Arabia and UAE in the beginning of next year. So just really excited to be here with you all, sharing these stories. Honored and privileged. Stuart, thank you for inviting me to jump into the well with you all. And with that, I'll turn it back over to Stuart and answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Neil.